Welcome back to the news at 10. Now let's just bring you up to speed with a new twist and a new development to the story about the ambush of oil workers and some academics from the University of Maiduguri by Boko Haram, as a new video has emerged purportedly of 3 of those abducted. In the video sent to us, but which has not been independently verified, one of those abducted says he's a lecturer with the University of Maiduguri and appealed to the government for help.
I want to call on the entire community of University of Maiduguri. I also want to call on our coordinators for the project, Professor Saidu Baba and Professor Adamu Zubama. I want to call on ASU under the leadership of Danny Mama. I want to call on the Vice Chancellor, University of Maiduguri, Professor Ibrahim Jodi. I want to call on the State Governor, His Excellency Kashim Shetima. I want to call on NNPC Group under the leadership of Dr. Bago. I want to call the leadership of NNPC to join in this rescue. I want to call on the entire media community to help us to support this our cry so that we'll be rescued alive. I want to call on the acting president, Professor Yemi Osibanjo, to come to our rescue to meet the demand of soldiers of Khalifa under the leadership of Abu Musaf al-Barnawi. They have promised us that if their demands are met, they will release us immediately.
That video has emerged. It was sent to us, but it has not been independently verified. The governors of the 19 northern states of Nigeria have constituted a committee to review the call for the country's restructuring. And that committee is to be headed by the Sokoto state governor with a view to coming up with a blueprint for the region. The resolution was part of the communique issued at the end of the 2-day meeting of key northern stakeholders and traditional leaders.
At the end of the 2-day meeting, the Northern Governors Forum has come up with a resolution that the committee be set up to review the agitation for restructuring of the country. The governor of Sokoto State, Honorable Aminu Tambuwal, has been nominated by the forum to head the committee, which also has the governors of Nasarawa, Gombe, Bauchi, Kaduna, Deputy Governor of Benue, and some traditional rulers as members.
It is to come up with acceptable, tenable, and sustainable position for Northern region in consonance with provisions of the 1999 Constitution as amended.
Next on their agenda is the issue of education. The governors have decided to invest more in the educational system in the region. And the governors of Borno and Kaduna states want better collaboration among member states in the areas of agriculture, education and youth employment.
Our commitment towards the educational revitalization of northern Nigeria is irrevocable, absolute commitment, and in the fullness of time. We'll walk the talk. It's easy to talk. We'll certainly walk the talk, and in all states of the north.
Many of our colleagues in the southwest are beneficiaries of the investment in education by chief of government. Although this is how it works. What many of us have inherited is that in the last decade or so, there has been no investment in education because the results are not clear. They are not politically popular.
At the end of the forum, it is expected that some of the resolutions reached at the meeting will be implemented at the state level, and ultimately the committee will come up with a blueprint that will not only be beneficial to the region alone, but to the entire country at large.
Let's take a look at some business news for the day. Here's Anne Waudu.
You first. First Bank.
Thanks a lot, Ijoma, and welcome to Business News.
Nigeria's interbank lending rate fell sharply to 5% today from 15% last week, following the distribution of budget allocations to government agencies. The central bank sold 72.4 billion naira worth in open market operation treasury bills in a bid to reduce the impact of the budget dispersal on the money market. But just yesterday, the interbank's overnight placements closed around 11.6%. Traders expect the cost of borrowing among commercial lenders to rise next week as the CBN sells more treasury bills to mop up excess liquidity in the foreign exchange market. In the meantime, the Central Bank of Nigeria has continued its intervention by injecting $462.33 million into the Forex market today. A breakdown of the figures indicates that the retail market got the largest allocation of $267.33 million. The wholesale market got $100 million. $50 million was allocated to the small and medium enterprises Forex window, while $45 million went to personal travel allowances, among other things. The spokesman, Mr. Isaac Okorafor, says the CBN will ensure transparency and avoid sharp practices by participants in the Forex market. Listed financial services group FBN Holdings has announced mixed performance in the first half of this year, but with impressive top-line growth. The gross earnings show an 8% rise, beating some estimates at 289 billion naira. The net income was stronger by 30%. The Vetiver Capital Research Report, which was issued today, shows that FBN Holdings' strong interest income was supported by high interest rates. Vetiver Capital is forecasting FBN Holdings' full year 2017 net profit at 53.3 billion naira, a huge rise from last year's 17.1 billion naira. The Bulls paused for a break today after maintaining a steady 16-day winning streak, but still near 3-year highs. Here is Emana Amawe with the details.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. The main index of Nigeria's stock markets pulled back by 1.02%. below the 37,000 mark at the close of today's trading, after recording 16 consecutive sessions of gains, its longest gain streak since 2014. This follows profit short-term investors, particularly from the industrial, insurance and oil and gas sectors, while only the consumer goods sector recorded a significant 1.14% increase. The sell-off reflected in the prices of 27 losers, led by Cadbury, Cement Company of Northern Nigeria, and Livestock Feeds, in contrast with 30 gainers, led mostly by Dangote Sugar. Friday's transaction was lower by 17 million units against Thursday's volume, but remained above 500 million units from 5,799 deals. FBN Holdings, Diamond Bank, and Transcorp were the main volume drivers on the activity chart. And that's it on the Stock Market Report. I'm Emana Amawe.
Thanks a lot, Emana. Major global stock markets ended the trading week mostly in the red, particularly from tech stocks, as investors focus on latest corporate earnings in Asia and in the US. Here are the figures for today. And that's business news for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwaudo. The rest of the news at 10 continues now with Ijoma.
You first. First Bank.
Thanks a lot, Anne. The Nigerian British Chamber of Commerce has held its 38th annual general meeting here in Lagos. The AGM is convened, among other reasons, to appoint a new leadership that will run the affairs of the association for the next 2 years. The outgoing president, Dapo Adelogun, described the year 2016 as difficult but productive.
Members of Council.
It's the 30th annual general meeting of the Nigerian British Chamber of Commerce, and gathered here are bank managing directors, business tycoons and the management of the association. First, a review of the year gone by.
We have more than before created awareness of the opportunities in Nigeria for investment to British investors. And we have also championed the aspect of what we call reverse FDI, that is encouraging Nigerian businesses to also invest in the UK. Mr. Akinola B. and is hereby installed as the next president of the Nigerian for the period 2017 to 2019.
For the year 2017 to 2019, a new leadership that will manage the affairs of the Chamber is voted in, and Mr. Akinola Wore becomes the 15th president. Vice President are also unanimously voted in, and amongst them is Mr. Nnamdi Okonkwo, the Managing Director of Fidelity Bank PLC.
It's more of a recognition of our collaboration and participation over the years in the activities of the Chamber. What it means is increased responsibility. What it means is we have to now take advantage of being bankers as well to provide support for members of the Chamber.
For the next year, these are some of the cardinal goals the bilateral chamber will focus on.
Our pledge is to remain the foremost bilateral chamber and be a chamber of choice in the community of chambers. We want to influence government policy. We will also be creating business opportunities for members and also keep members informed of relevant policies.
The Nigerian British Chamber of Commerce promotes trade and investments between Nigeria and British private sector.
We move on now. The Federal Ministry of Health is advocating routine testing, vaccination as well as treatment to reduce the occurrence of hepatitis in the country. Addressing journalists after a roadwalk in Abuja to mark the WHO World Hepatitis Day, the Director, Prevention and Control, AIDS and Other Sexually Transmitted Infections at the Ministry of Health says there are appropriately 19 million people with the hepatitis B virus in Nigeria. Staying with health issues, in the bid to review the progress made in the immunization and to make necessary amends, the Yobe State, Northeast Nigeria and other development partners has held a mid-year review meeting. Philanthropist Bill Gates and Aliko Dangote, who joined the meeting via video chat, praised the Yobe State government for the successes recorded in their efforts to keep the state polio-free.
This gathering of Yobe State government officials and development partners is to assess the progress made so far and plan for more effective immunization coverage in the state. The founders of Bill and Melinda Gates and Dangote Foundations joined the meeting via a live video link from the United States and Lagos, Nigeria, respectively. They both praised the Yobe State government for its commendable efforts in polio eradication.
I'm impressed by the dedication and the early progress we're making here, which of course is during the middle of a polio outbreak response and humanitarian challenges. So we're very committed to help continue the progress and proud to be involved with this project.
I want to, assure you, we will accelerate the completion of the, two health center facilities which we promised and we started, which is Gujuba and Gulani, and this will be completed latest by October 2017.
The state governor, Ibrahim Gaidam, says more security operatives will be deployed into the exercise in order to provide security for health workers on immunization duties so as to reach every community in the state.
We will continue to engage the services of the Nigerian Army, the police, other security agencies and the vigilant groups to further achieve successes in reaching every settlement and community in the state. I wish to assure all our partners that we shall, with their active support, continue to take proactive steps to record more successes towards meeting the health needs of our citizens.
Also in attendance at the meeting is the Emir of Fika and other significant dignitaries. It's the first of its kind after the signing of an MOU on the strengthening of routine immunization in Yobe State.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Nigeria confident about her readiness to host the 2018 Africa Senior Wrestling Championships. That's on sports. Stay with us.